it wouldn't initiate the stream. It wouldn't start. It just kept collapsing and dying out. I don't know. What can you do? Technology. Who needs it? Me. Okay, folks. This is episode 59 of TrampCast. And this week we are covering the week ending Sunday, March the 9th. The week initially known as the Week of Hell. I am Delta Mike. The channel is Down and Out in Torrevieja. Down and out, homeless, a tramp, a hobo, a vagrant, an indigent person, a person of no fixed abode. Some might say a bum. Someone who sleeps rough on the streets, or in my case, in a field. At Torrevieja, that's a city on the southeast coast of Spain that has been hammered by, it must be almost a month now of bad weather. If I'm doing a TrampCast that ended, covering a week that ended 2 weeks ago, so it began 3 weeks ago. Now, if you remember, the last episode we did, the last episode proper of TrampCast, we covered the week anticipating the Week of Hell, the storms and everything that were to come. And just at the end, we touched on the bad weather for the Saturday and the Sunday. So we're going to pick up shortly where we left off with that. First, this is TrampCast, where we cover the successes, the failures, and the other happenings in my life as a tramp, hobo, homeless person, all those other synonyms here in Torrevieja. If you would, folks, consider giving us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you've seen more than a couple of my videos, at least consider subscribing. Helps the channel, and it'll help you out with not missing videos. I see a few people arriving, a couple of messages popping up. I'll get to those shortly. But I was a beer sponsor for this episode, and it's gone. I just checked before. I only remembered at the last minute to check my PayPal account. I will have to make you the sponsor of the next one because I didn't write it down. I've been in an absolute rush to get ready just now, and then the shenanigans I've just had with the phone. So sorry about that. Unless it comes to me shortly. It's unlikely, isn't it, with my memory? So the format of the show. In a moment, we'll do a few facts about the number of the episode. And I've just looked down my notes and I can see a mistake already, which might throw things off. Maybe I just wrote it wrong. Ugh, that'll be awkward if I have got that wrong. But we'll cover some facts about the number 59 because this is episode 59. After that, we'll do the thank yous. Now again, these will be the thank yous for the week in question, the donations, the help, the support, the visits to the site during the week in question, which is the week up to March the 9th. After that, we'll briefly discuss the themes of the week, the major issues of the week, and there's obviously one major outstanding one, isn't there? That's kind of the storm and the weather and the tent. After the themes, we'll look at the week, a breakdown of what happened in the week, step by step. I'll try not to make it too long, folks. In truth, I've got quite a lot of notes, but they are quite sketchy because I had a lot going on. I had to keep rushing out and putting the roof on or making sure the roof didn't blow away at least. Repairing things or trying to make sure that the repairs I'd put on didn't blow away too quickly. So yeah, we'll run through the happenings of the week and briefly try and look at what was to come afterwards, or what I would have been worried about at the time, the upcoming issues, Obviously, I'll be doing the upcoming issues from the end of that week, but I'll be doing it in hindsight because I know what happened. And if you've been following the videos, most of you will know as well. But can't be helped. I am very, very behind with all of this, folks. I mean, I've got to squeeze another 2 in to bring us up to date. So I want to get that done this week. Possibly Tuesday and Thursday would be my favourite days, I think. But we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Okay. Let me just briefly, while we're here, I will switch to live chat and have a quick look back at everybody. Minutes, I'm waiting. Yeah, sorry people were waiting. As I said, technical issues. YouTube was just being a bugger, and in the end, I had to delete the existing stream again. Except when I went back in, it was still there waiting for me to restart it. After trying to reconnect and resume time and time again. Well, I'm glad you like my videos, Minis. Am I pronouncing that right? Minis or just Minis, as in the car or something? I'm not sure. Jackie Tech's trying to be funny. Karen's in the house. Hello, Karen. Mountain camp. Gary, right? Maybe. How's your tent holding up? Did you manage to get some extra tarp and dry everything? Oh, you put Gary at the end, yeah. Thank you. That helps. No extra tarp yet. I've still got one in here waiting to go on. We keep getting this thing of like one okay day and then one day where it all goes to crap again. We're waiting on rain again now, in theory. It was supposed to be this afternoon, then they put it off, then they said this evening, and now I think they're saying tonight. Then I just got an alert before saying possible rain this evening, so who knows. But I need 2 or 3 days, really. I mean, ideally, I'd like to take the roof off and leave it off overnight one day. Just to help with the drying out process. I want to get this wet carpet out of here as well at some point, but that means emptying the room. And then have a look over here. Oh, let's one more custom that we haven't done yet. Hey, Tina, oh look at that! It switched first click. It didn't make me click twice. That's changed. Tina, go. Hey, say hello to the peoples. She's just been having her. She's been eating her food. But over here, I've had to move my coffee table, move it out of the way. Down here, under where that plastic bag is, that white bag under there, I've got that shoved down a mouse hole at the minute. So it's all a bit of a mess in here where I've had to rearrange and jumble and I mean, it's always a mess, but I've lost my coffee table. So things are on top of the edge of the coffee table, and my TV's on the floor and Christmas tree, and it's all a little bit. So no tarp yet. No new tarps on the roof. I've got one here waiting to go on. I might add another one to it and try and cover the entire tent, ground to ground on all 4 sides. The chair I'm sitting on is fantastic. My friend Karen and her family were driving around just after we'd put the tent up. It might even have been the same night, just over a year ago now. It might have been the night that they helped me put the tent up. Well, they brought it from England. They paid for half of it. They helped me put it up, and then they were driving around either that night or the next, and there was 2 of these next to a bin, but I think one of them was covered in rubble. So they brought me this. It's a very nice chair to sit on. Got a carpet in here, which, if it not been for all the flooding, would have been a very nice addition. Flooding is an overstatement, but the water ingress. Okay, folks, as I say, this is episode 59. What does Tina make of all the rain? She hates it. She hates it. Especially thunder and lightning, or when the strong winds are going, but also when it starts raining in on the bed. A couple of the bits where a comfy seat is very important, Scruff Dog, yeah. And it doesn't squeak or anything either, because it's not a, it's not a crappy computer chair. So yeah. But no, Tina doesn't like the rain. I want to thank Scruff Dog as well. I mean, this again, should be in the episode that's about this week, but I'll mention it now because he helped me bigly last night. I set myself a challenge to try and get to 1,250 subscribers. And last night, as approaching midnight or maybe just after, I was on 1,245. I announced I made a message in his chat and picked up 2 or 3. And then later on, Scruff messaged, he asked people to subscribe. And I flew through the 1,250. I think the last I checked, 1,254, possibly 55. Can't quite remember. But thank you, Scruff Dog. Okay, folks, let's crack on. I just saw another message pop up and disappear instantly. Fuck. Karen will be bobbing in and out. That's okay. That's okay. You're busy. You got family and things with you. It's cool, man. Glad I could help, says Scruff Dog. Oh, what have I not mentioned? I got as far as saying thumbs up and subscribe. Donate. That's a little bit cheeky. I am trying to save up for a new larger tent. It's a little bit cheeky when I've got smaller ones in reserve for emergencies. But bigger is better, I guess. I wouldn't go as big as this again. I would go 2/3. I'd only have the 2 rooms, the bedroom and the other part. But my last tent had the bedroom and then the vestibule sloped down. So you lost like half the volume because of the diagonal. I would want something that still had that rectangular end at one end to maximize usable floor space. So I am looking at that. Also in the meantime, before that happens, extra tarps and I'm probably going to lose some food because of wet getting to stuff. The mice have been a nuisance. I've still got to fix the mouse problem. We'll get there, folks. We'll get there. So donate if you've got it, and if you're willing. If you're new here, wait a while. You know, you want to see what's what and find out what's what. And there are quite a lot of new people around. So I will just mention. First things first. TrampCast 001, the first TrampCast, has my entire backstory. There was also a TrampCast special a few weeks ago. Hello, Terry. There's a TrampCast special a few weeks ago where I tried to summarise that same story more succinctly, but there was a lot of questions from the audience, from the chat, and it might not have worked as well as it could have for what I was trying to do. But it was good fun. So the TrampCast 001 or the TrampCast special from about a month ago now, but also there is a playlist of like the most significant developments, the videos from over the last, it's coming up for 2 years now, isn't it, of the channel. I think it started at the end of May. But there's a playlist of the most important videos through that journey. And there's also a playlist specifically about this last 2 or 3 weeks, the week of hell as I christened it initially. So yeah, donate if you can. If you're new, those are the videos to see. If you're late arriving, you might want to check that you've got the little red dot next to the word live in the bottom left corner of the video player. Yeah, see, Karen's offering to help. If I can get the money together, she'll acquire the tent and bring it over to me. Thank you, Karen. Cheers. Listen, folks. I'm not one of nature's beggars. I'm not comfortable asking. There's a little fund set aside already building. Some of it will go to a tent. When I do get a new tent, if I get a new tent, there will be tarps going over it from the beginning. Sod the. I'm not going to put it off like I did this time. I should have put these tarps over right when I first put the tent up. But I was getting so many visits from the police and so much grief that it frightened me away from it, literally. It was too much grief. That's probably is that a PayPal donation coming in? Careful how I click. That is. Thank you, whoever that was. I can't. Okay, Scruff Dog again. Cheers, mate. I can't see the amount in the thing. I'm not gonna. But okay, folks. Let's crack on. All messages. Okay, you wanna select all messages or live chat. It's worded differently in various different places, but you want to see all the messages, not just the top messages or however they word it in your version. And if you're watching this on the replay. If you're watching this on the replay, so not Sunday as I'm live, but video on demand, you want to have chat replay active so that you can see the comments people are making. I don't read them all out. Sometimes I forget, and I'll respond to somebody's chat message without reading out who said what. I'm not very professional at this, folks. I'm not very good at this. I'm a tramp in a field for, you know. Okay, let's crack on. This is episode 59 of TrampCast. As I say, covering the week up to Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. But because it's episode 59, some facts about the number 59. Including one that may be wrong, but I'll have to go with it anyway. Hey, babe. I do like the fact that now when I click the button to reverse the camera, it goes first time. I'm not having to click it 2 or 3 times. So that's something they fixed, despite whatever other errors that they've reintroduced or new errors introduced. Okay, the number 59. The 59 is a prime number. It's also what is called a super prime. That is to say that if you arrange the prime numbers in order and like label them, number them, ordinal numbers of you know, the first prime number, the second prime number, if its ordinal number in that arrangement is also a prime, then they call that a super prime. I don't think it's got any real mathematical use or basis, but something they do. Okay, 59, I didn't know this, and this sounds a little bit suspicious to me, and I'm not of a religious enough persuasion to know, but I did read that the number of beads on a Roman Catholic rosary is 59. I don't know why that would be. I don't know that it is, but I'm told that it is. Okay, now in the 1970s, feminists often wore a badge or button with the number 59. And this was to signify that they earned 59% of an equally qualified male. We often have one, almost always, international direct dialing code. This time, not. The number 59 isn't used as a number in its own right, but is it's a lead to 10 others, to 10 other countries, 590 through to 599. Where am I now? Okay, so those countries range from San Martin, which is 590, Bolivia 591. How do you pronounce this one? Curacao. They're in the list there, and also something called the Caribbean Netherlands that I've never heard of. Oh wow! I'll come back to that one. That's it. It would be a noticeable number short for what you're asking there. I'll come back to it. Now, if you remember the last episode, folks, I got mixed up on whether I was doing episode 58 or 59, and that might have caused me some confusion here. Now, I'm not sure. I've got this is from the periodic table. I've written 58 next to the element in question, although we're doing 59. So I might have screwed this up. Well, I have screwed it up one way or another, haven't I? 58 was Cerium, named after Ceres, the dwarf planet. So this will be 59. Hopefully I've just miswrote it. Which is Oh God, I've got it wrong already. Praseodymium. Shall I try that one again? Praseodymium with the symbol PR. Again, it's another one of the rare earth metals. Soft, silvery, malleable and ductile. It's magnetic, electrical, and has chemical and optical properties. Too reactive to be found in its native form. It is basically never found in its native form. You have to extract it from other from other compounds. It's a green oxide. Okay, it gets a green oxide coating if exposed to air. It is 9 parts per million in Earth's crust, and the name is derived from the Greek for leek green or leek green twin. Often used as a colorant in glass and ceramics, and most recently in optics and lasers. And it's also permanent magnets used in wind turbines. That, because I don't want to say that name again, let's do it. Praseodymium. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. But that brings us to the end of the facts about the number 59 for this episode 59 of TrampCast. I honestly don't believe, folks, that we've got to this higher number. I can't believe I'm still here in the field, but there you go. Karen's giving the breakdown of the rosary beads. I am live now, blanked. Although the discussion isn't about this current week. It's about a couple of weeks ago. But we are live now. Let me go back. I know that okay, how many euros are you short for a new tent? How long is a piece of string, my friends? I don't know what to say. This tent cost about 450, I think it was pounds rather than euros. And I don't want one this big again, I don't think. Well, I can't afford one this big again. I had some fantastic donations last time. And because of Karen's help and her and her family paying for half of the tent that we eventually got, I had money left over, which is how I ended up with the EcoFlow, with the overflow. And that, I've got to say, I mean, tent, yes, obviously, that's shelter, that's priority. But the EcoFlow and then the solar panel have just revolutionized my life here. They're just absolutely... I'm going to do a separate video about me and the EcoFlow. I did one a while back and never released it because it turned out the day that I picked was a rather boring day where I didn't really do anything. I want to wait maybe until we've got more power one day, and then I can show what I'm doing with the extra power. Maybe cook some baked potatoes, jacket potatoes, and roast some onions or something in the slow cooker with the power. Maybe show the fan that I've got if it's still working. Maybe show that in use. It's already, on the days where the sun shines, it's starting to get warm in here, even with all the added ventilation. So yeah, but the question of how much do I need for a tent? 150, maybe 200 euros in total, maybe, depending. Now Karen's looking for a second-hand tent if she can find one, and that will obviously, I should bring the costs down, or mean that I can get a higher quality one. Maybe if we could find an army surplus or a canvas, or something. I don't know. It's one of those how long is a piece of string questions, isn't it? How much money do you need? All of it. I don't know, folks. Coffee today, folks. Oh, I have got a thing going on, guys, where it's like an indigestion thing. I've been having a lot of acid, or struggling with acid, And every time I swallow anything, like a warm drink or a cold drink, water, or it hits a certain point right at the solar plexus, right at the bottom of the sternum, the rib cage there, and it just I got a suspicion Helicobacter pylori. I think my dad had it way back, looking back, but yeah, diagnosing myself off the internet. Actually not, diagnosing myself based on knowledge that I already had from about 30 years ago when they discovered Helicobacter pylori. For the ones that don't know, that's the one that made everybody think, no, it didn't make them think they had ulcers, it's what gave people ulcers. A bacteria that lives in the stomach, where nobody thought anything could survive. And then a guy called Barry Marshall in either Australia or New Zealand, sorry, Dr. Marshall, he isolated a sample of this stuff and thought it must be the cause of stomach ulcers. So he swallowed what he didn't know, but what turned out to be a megadose, and absolutely riddled his stomach with ulcers, and then took the antibiotics to cure it. But probably did himself some harm in the meantime with the amount that he took. Anyway, enough of the science lesson. Let's crack on. So after the numbers, we have the thank yous. Now, in the week in question, I had a couple of PayPal donations. So thank you very much to Surinder P and to Paul B, who donated live during a TrampCast. I'm not sure if it was a TrampCast or a TrampCast special that week. Probably a special. Visiting here in the tramp camp, as I call it, my friend Mark came along and brought me a newspaper. I think he was leaving the country shortly thereafter, and he brought me. It was a 200ml bottle of whiskey that had been lying around his apartment for a while from some visitors that had been and left it. So there was half of this 200 bottle of milliliter bottle of whiskey. So thank you, Mark. Greatly appreciated. Always like a drop of the fiery stuff. My friend Tom came around that week as well and brought me a chicken dinner, which he often does when he's in the country. So thank you again, Tom. Thank you. And the lady that I nickname Morticia, I don't know her name, and she's been helping me in terms of cash, giving me cash. She might be my single biggest donor in person for handing me money in the field, like 10 euros here and 20 euros there over an extended period. So my friend, who I've never got the name of, we don't really have a common language between us. It's difficult. My Spanish is terrible, and she's got zero English. And she's frightened of the dog, so stays well back as well, which makes attempting to communicate difficult. But the lady I call Morticia because of the dark hair, like the Adams family. She stopped by and she gave me an amount that I would label as that ain't cheap. Tina girl, it's okay. She also brought some bits and pieces, I think, for me and the dog. Tina girl. Also, I haven't got a listed here when I should have. Further down the list, a lady called Erika stopped by the camp and brought some things for Tina and some bits for me as well. So thank you to Morticia down the road. Hope she never sees this. She'll be massively offended probably. But also to Erika, thank you, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's difficult. It's basically Erika, but with a Scandinavian twist. Swedish, if I remember correctly. Okay, folks. There may be some others that I've failed to include, but that are within the notes through the week. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, those are the thank yous for for the week ending Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. Now, another quick swig of coffee. It's not in any danger of going cold with these insulated sippy cups. I found out the other day this one has a feature I didn't know about. There's a ring inside, so you've got the sippy hole, but there's a ring inside that if you turn will cover the hole to insulate it more completely. I didn't know that was there. My other one hasn't got such a feature. The other one is slightly better insulated in general though, but I'm not playing them off one against another. I'm not doing it. I should do reviews of them really. I don't quite remember where this one came from. Adam and Mel, was this one you? Or did I just have it lying around in here at around that same time that you gave me a lot of things? I know this one came from Karen and from Decathlon. But I'm not playing them off one against another. That's not the aim. Okay, folks, I'll have a quick look at chat because I do miss them. Get a canvas tent next if possible. It's on the checklist. It's on the list of things to look for. Oh, I don't know about that one. Adam and Mel. It's a very generous offer. As I said, I'm not comfortable with big donations really. Donegal. Don't think you ever gave me a proper name, did you? It's difficult to call you Donegal. But okay, I'll do what I can. Glad to see you've made it to the other side from that horrendous weather. I'm hoping it is the other side because every second day seems to have another bad spell again. It was pretty dire. It was it 3 weeks plus? I think it's over 3 weeks in total. Yeah, a few more showers this week, but it shouldn't be anywhere near what we've just had. The red cup was you. Okay, Adam and Mel, thank you. Okay, Richard, Donegal overlanding. Call it a leaving present. Yeah, from what you said, you're already going to sort me out with a lot, Adam and Mel. You've done me proud already, my friends. You've done me proud already. Some of it's still in a bag here. I don't even know which bag where. Because I'm slow to get organised, and then we had the weather come in. Then I had things get knocked over. Then there's other things I've had to move around. And I've had to move this table, stand the coffee table on its edge. Everything's it was don't get me wrong, it was disorganised anyway, and there's too much stuff in here for the size of the tent. That's going to be another thing when if I downsize in tent, picking what to keep and what not, because you know that whatever I throw away 1 week later, you know, it's like I'll be desperate for it. You know how that is whenever you sort something out. You throw away some table or some chest of drawers or something that you think's taking up too much room, and a week later you've got like the perfect use for it, or your life depends on having it. Yeah, I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. Okay. Themes for the week. This is episode 59. We're covering the week ending Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. For context, that was the first week of the actual storm. The week before that we've already covered was anticipation of the storm, preparation, and then maybe the first couple of days. This was the storm. 65 km/h gusts of wind. 35 millimeters of rain on some days, or at least forecasts saying that. Other days, I mean, if you watch my videos where I do cover the weather forecasts, I'm trying not to do them because they annoy you guys and nobody watches them. But the weather forecasts have been up and down like a fucking yo-yo. Literally, one day it will say, oh, Thursday's going to be 35 millimeters. On Wednesday, oh, Thursday's going to be 2 millimeters. Then you get there and suddenly it's going to be 20 millimeters by dinner time. You wish I could get a wee caravan. Yeah. Probably would bring more police, and also it wouldn't get onto this particular land because you have to step down from the track, step down from the road. So that would mean finding a new location and everything. But yeah, something like a caravan or an old camper van or something. The fact that I'm not a drivist would complicate matters. If it was like a motorhome, an RV, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. It's all, I've been, every solution everybody comes up with, there's always some significant bar blocking it. I feel at times like a whiny bitch, like I'm looking for excuses to not do things or try things. But anyway, where was I, folks? Where was I? So I was about to say we were doing the themes for the week of the storm, the first week proper of the storm. So obviously the main theme is the storm, maybe. Those winds, those rain, the damage that we took in the first 2, 3, 4 days of the storm, all of the extra rips and tears, the extra work to keep the tap on with those clamps and with guy lines, with cordage. Extra strain. We lost some of the grommets on the tarpaulin. The seam grin, when the fibres get stretched and pulled, and extra holes, only pinprick holes, but there's a lot of extra holes appeared. And obviously when the rain then sits on top of the tarp, you get a depression, a concave area. The water pools and sits and then comes through all of those tiny pinholes. So things like that, things like the patches that I'd tried to apply in places that instantly failed. The fact that duct tape doesn't stick to an old surface, or it's 50-50 whether it will stick or not. Issues like that, things like that, and the battles running out in the night, with the head torch and throwing a jacket on and running out to fix a tarp back on, or one of the Toldos fabrics, one of the awning fabrics that I've got in use. When the pegs ping off and fly away, and I have to spend 10 minutes in the rain looking for a clamp of plastic that's bigger than my head almost, and it's lost somewhere out there and might have pinged 3 meters away or 4 meters away. Or alternatively, might have dropped down and fallen inside the bottom of the tent where there's a ripped wall, or where the wall's gone, but the bottom skirt's still there. And sometimes I spend 10 minutes looking for one of these clamps, and then I remember to check inside the skirt at the bottom of the tent, and bloody things there. So all of those struggles, along with all of this, has been the power management. There was the time, I think it's in this week, we'll get to it, but basically I got the EcoFlow was down to 20%. We'd had a day with nothing at all. So woke up in the morning on say 50% on the EcoFlow, used it all day and night, eked it out as much as I could, still on 20% the next morning, or headed for the morning, say 3, 4 in the morning. Things, down to 20%. And I've set it to not give off any more power once it hits 20%. Thinking that I'll go in on the phone and I'll change it down to 15 and have 5% more of the power available. Only my phone ran out of power right at that moment, leaving me, I couldn't change the limit, and with the limit in place it wouldn't give me any power. Without the power I couldn't power the phone to change the limit. Catch 22. Bit of a fuck up. It's more complicated than that, but managing that power, trying to, what I call chase the sun, unplug the solar panel from the EcoFlow and take them to the other end of the field to catch the last sun of the evening when it's over there, to try and eke out an extra 5 or 10%, just to keep the battery topped up in the EcoFlow, in the some people call them solar systems, solar power station, solar generator. I'm not really comfortable with any of those terms, but It's a battery and an inverter in one, giving me the power that I need. And yeah, it was a battle at times. And having to spend the day not watching videos, but just listening to audio to save the power on the phone. And indeed putting the power into the maximum battery saving mode, where it turns off all background processes and yeah, all of that. And I think that was the first time I've done that, like in anger, done that for real with this while I've been on this phone. I did it quite a bit with the old phone, but this phone, it's the first time I've had to do it for real. And as I said, I'm going to blame the EcoFlow app. Tina girl. When I was in the low power mode, the EcoFlow app, I tried to set that limit, that threshold down to 15% to free up 5% for use. And I set it, and it appeared to set, and it just never took. It never worked. It didn't. The app reflected it, but I was getting a different user interface in the EcoFlow app when I was in the power saving mode, in the maximum power saving mode. So maybe I'll get onto EcoFlow. Maybe I'll send them kind of a bug report or something about that. If I can, maybe I'll try and replicate it just so I don't make a fool of myself. But yeah. So that was an issue. That was one of the themes of the week. Another one, mice again. Still, I mean the hole's just down here. Oh, the latest hole, and I had to scoop out 5 bloody biscuit tins. 4, was it 4 or 5? Full. I took a biscuit tin and I scooped, and I filled at least 4. It might have been 5. And I had to bail, throw the soil out of the tent. It was at the back of the coffee table, between the coffee table and the bedroom wall over there. So it wasn't, and it was underneath. It was underneath a bag of food, which they never touched. They will not touch cornflakes and Rice Krispies. They know better, folks. They know not to touch that shit. Nothing in nature will touch that stuff. Mold? No. Mice? No. Rats? No. Anyway, onwards. Another theme for the week, really, was the subscriber count. I know this is going to sound a little bit, but having spent, 3 or 4 months, maybe more, kind of with the numbers stagnating, no movement on the YouTube subscriber count. It's like YouTube was only putting my videos out to people already subscribed. If nobody new gets to see them, nobody new gets to subscribe. Well, with the tent falling apart and like the dramatic thumbnails or headlines, the titles and the captions on the thumbnails, suddenly lots of views, lots of new subscribers. Tina girl, let's have some quiet. You eating all your food? Yeah? Oh, you haven't got much water left in that bowl. Remind me when I get the light, I'll give you some water. So yes, suddenly my numbers were shooting up. It's relative, isn't it? But yeah, it's all I have to do is like risk life and limb, die of pneumonia in a wet bed, and suddenly everyone's interested. Lots of viewing, and the videos go out to, I guess because more of my subscribers watch the actual videos, the algorithm takes the signal and starts showing them to more people, and income new subscribers. But if I do a video about how the weather forecasts are shit, I get 30 viewers or 40 viewers. So thanks for that. I think those are the main themes for the week in question, folks. Whoa, I've just hidden chat. No, and again. Okay, no more comments yet. That's good. I haven't missed anything. It's a terrible app. You'd think that when people comment, it would come up, or you'd think there'd be a setting and I could just keep chat visible the whole time. No, that would be too easy. Feature request YouTube if you're watching. Okay, folks, we've been going 45 minutes almost exactly. Beep, beep, beep. 45 minutes exactly. Shall we begin? Shall we begin with the week in question? Now, ordinarily I would begin with the Sunday after TrampCast, but the week that we're talking about, I hadn't done a TrampCast immediately before, so there's nothing to say about the Sunday. Whoa, Tina girl, Tina! You're going to spill 2 coffees over yourself. Steady. Go on. Are you going in the bedroom? Bedroom. Go on. Can your bum shuffle away? Go on. Go. I think she's bored sat out here. Oh no, she's going to... What are we doing, folks? Despite the fact she can't stand up and walk, she decided to stand up and walk. Where are we going? Bedroom. Go. Go on. Yes. Go. Hop up on the bed. Go on. Shall I go and... I'll go and give her a hand. Oh no, she's changed her mind. Well, she's either changed her mind or just given up because she's not capable. Let me go and see what she wants to do, folks. Give me a second to look after my girl. If she's just trying to move to where she is, that's fine, but if she's wanting to go in the bedroom, I'll give her a quick hand. Oh, squeeze out from behind the laundry bin. Hey babe. Bedroom. Do you want to go in the bedroom? On the bed, in the bedroom. Go on. Go. I got you. There you go. Go. There we go. Go. Go on. There we go. That's a girl. That's my girl. Oh. Okay, folks. Sorry about that. Oh. Squeeze back in. I'll give myself a bit more room now. I don't have to worry about her knocking the laundry bin over. Here we go. I've got to be careful. Hot coffee. I think someone just parked outside. Okay. I'm back. Got to look after my girl. She's my priority. Okay, where was I? I was about to start with Monday, wasn't I? Monday of the week in question. So, 4:40 a.m. I awoke and the tent was being buffeted. I was about to say I need to put my teeth in. I haven't got any. I do, they're in a bag over there somewhere. But I don't know, have I told those stories? I'll do those one day. Remind me, the next TrampCast special or TrampCast hangout, ask me about my teeth, if I haven't told it already. But yeah, the tent was being buffeted by strong winds, and the wind was like really loud. Obviously, strong winds are loud, aren't they? And when you're in a tent and you've been hit broadside, you really notice it. But suddenly, the wind must have moved around slightly from say northeast to just east, and over there we've got a bank of trees. And what we'll often get is we can just hear the wind, but we're sat here calm. We're in a slight depression. The trees are there, and then it's the cliff tops just 50 meters further on. And yeah, suddenly calm. We can still hear it, but we're just still. Karen looking at tents. People are pushing for canvas, Karen. Although they're ridiculously expensive. A mouth this big and a miss. I know. Okay, folks, where am I? So yeah, we've got the trees protecting us, which is brilliant. Now, as we approach morning, the eco flow is down to 28%, and we really need sunshine. And the forecast says yes, you're going to get some sunshine in the afternoon. Hopefully. But as I've said, forecasts. I really do need to learn how to turn the noises off during the TrampCast, don't I? To silence. Is it do not disturb? Is that what it's called? So anyway, we get to 5 o'clock in the morning, and the batteries in the head torch and the fairy lights that I use as like night lights. I need some light because when I hear stuff move, I need some lights. But 5 in the morning and my head torch is flickering like crazy whenever I put it on. The fairy lights they drop to like a low power state where there's just a glow so that you can see where they are, but you can't actually see anything from them. And then every half an hour or so they'll flare up for 5 minutes up to full power again. So basically what I'm saying is, like, my batteries and things are starting to run out. The EcoFlow's down, what did I say, 28%, so that's getting low. We're at the start of a day, and if we don't get any sun during that day, I'm going to run out of power, maybe even before we get to the night. So it's a concern, but the forecast is looking promising. I walked Tina, put the solar panel out, more in, I've literally written in my notes here, more in hope than expectation. It's dull and overcast, very, very windy, and the EcoFlow drops down to the 20% limit from me charging little bits and pieces. So I'm trying not to use it, except when I'm trying not to use the phone or the tablet or anything. I'm trying to restrict power. And we get to 10:30, and there's a little bit of light, not exactly brightness, but suddenly it's not overcast, you know. And the 100-watt solar panel starts to pick up 18 watts, and it adds 0.4% to the EcoFlow over the next kind of quarter of an hour or whatever. But it's not much and it's not long, and we're getting little dribs and drabs, but nothing much. When there is some solar available, it's between 14 and 18 watts, and I have to have 15 watts clear to for the EcoFlow to start charging. Anything less, if it's on 14, I can plug something in on USB or on the 12-volt socket or something, and get some and make use of that 12, 13, 14 watts, whatever's available, but it won't charge the EcoFlow. Not until you hit 15. And if you hit 16 or 17, but you're using 2 or 3, so you're not leaving yourself 15 clear, it won't charge. So there's a balancing act of when you can charge things and when you can't, when you need to unplug it to try and get the EcoFlow to get the power, to get the full use of what's coming in. But suddenly at 1 o'clock, we suddenly get 70 watts coming in. A little bit of sun, and okay, who have I missed? Matthew, hello, and Timony, hello. But yeah, suddenly we get 70 watts, and I'm literally like, I'm woohoo, I'm you know, like a silly little schoolboy or something. So by 4 o'clock, I've got the EcoFlow up to 50%. So it's all sporadic, you know. You get some sun, no sun, some sun, but I got some. I'm on 50%. The sun's over here at the west, so I take the solar panel and the EcoFlow, and move them over there to try and chase the last few percent. I get up to 61% before we're done for the day, but the winds are picking up as the sun goes down. It's almost like it's connected. The sun drops behind the buildings on the horizon that way, and the Batman Rubin, hello. It took me a while to work that one out, but hello. I'm assuming that Rubin's your actual name. I'm assuming it's a pun on Batman and Robin, obviously, but I'm assuming Rubin's the real name. So yeah, with these strong winds, immediately the sun, I mean, it's not like down dark, it's just down behind the buildings, and you've got the cold. As soon as the sun goes down, you feel it get colder, and the stronger gusts come in. Don't let the sun go down on me. Yeah. So anyway, this was where I took one of my steps. I've discussed this, I think, in the TrampCast special at the time. I took a step, and I'm not gonna back down from it. I made a decision to cook inside the tent with a gas stove. Now, you're gonna say no, danger, danger, Will Robinson. But if I show you all the ventilation that we've got here, and if you see how wet this carpet is, if you took a gas stove, a camping stove, and deliberately laid it down to try and set fire to this carpet, you couldn't set fire to it because it's just so wet. When I step on it, I can still in places step on this carpet and get a puddle appear around my bare foot in the middle of the night. Doesn't do it quite the same with the shoes on. It spreads the weight a little bit more evenly. But if I step out here in the night, I get a puddle appear on my foot. So there's no way that it would set fire like without you deliberately trying for quite an extended period. So I made the decision anyway, and anyone who disagrees, you know what I mean? You got to be living it, haven't you? By this point, I was 3 or 4 days into storms. Couldn't light my gas fire outside because of the winds, and wouldn't want to be stood there watching it because of the rain. So I lit it in here. I brought a big brick, like a double brick, laid it down, put the made sure it was solid, put the camping stove on top of it, and stood here with the camping stove while it was in use. It's only used for 5 minutes at a time to make coffees or cup of soups. So you got to do what you got to do sometimes. You heard me say foot. Oh, will I be showing my feet? No, you pervy internet types and your foot fetishes. No. I think I showed them actually. The first TrampCast hangout, which was earlier this week, I showed them because of the black marks around the top of the feet from when I took my feet out of my wet shoes. So if you are of a kinky persuasion and you want to see some feet, they are there. Yeah, okay. Let's not dwell on that. Where was I? Yeah, okay, what I cooked was chicken soup with a bit of extra rice. So I probably had the stove on for 5 minutes to get the water boiling. Put the chicken soup in on the rice, probably turned it off pretty soon thereafter, just let the rice sit in the hot water, and I might have put it back on for another 2 or 3 minutes after 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, just to finish it off. It's a beautiful meal though, folks. You take like a cup of soup or a packet soup and just add a cup of rice to the pan. The rice absorbs the soup, swells, and you get a lovely tasting rice, and hopefully you've still got some liquid left at the end. Yeah, the slippers with the hole in the bottom, which I'm still wearing. I'm supposed to have thrown them away and moved on to a better pair, yeah. Okay, so that was the Monday. That was all of this, folks. All that excitement. It's just the beginning of the week. Again, woke at 3 o'clock, didn't sleep again that night, Tuesday morning, basically. And woke Tina fairly early, did a video, saw some more bad damage to the tent. This was the Tuesday. So I did a video labeled the Week of Hell, Day 4. And I released it that afternoon, actually. And it's the most watched of all of the Week of Hell, which has been 3 weeks, but you know, I wasn't going to change the name of the playlist or the titles of the videos or anything afterwards. So we ended up with like day 18 and day 20 and whatever of the week from hell. But yeah, the video I did that day with more damage on the tent, and yeah, basically I made my notes. Tent's fucked. Yeah, this was where Surinder sent me a PayPal donation that morning, and I got to make sure that I've been back to everybody and replied to everybody, because I'm sure there's some that I've missed. The PayPal app doesn't always tell me about a donation. Sometimes I go in, like when I get the next donation, I go in to try and respond straight away, and I'll see 2 or 3 others that I didn't know anything about. It's a little bit awkward. You know, if someone sent me money and I haven't responded for 3 days, I'll feel bad. Yeah. No, Tina, no. Tina, no. I said no. Hey, hey. Shush, shush. Good girl. Good girl. So, yeah, okay, recorded the video. I did it in stages throughout the day. But, okay. Had to wait until 12 o'clock noon for any solar to be collected, and we were only getting 17 watts. So yeah, in fact, in the video, one of the sections I stand there. That's the one where I wave my arms, and you could almost see, my shadow on the ground. Almost. Okay, Tim is saying that he watched back some of the TrampCasts. I watched them back myself. I have quite enjoyed them. That sounds wrong, but that 4.5 hour one that we did, whenever that was. Am I sitting in a dry patch now? Yeah, this chair is relatively dry. It was damp, not from like being rained on, but just moisture out of the air. But yeah, it's okay now. Where am I? Yeah, so that video, that was the one where I was waving my arms, and I could just see the beginnings of a shadow. I was collecting 17 watts. But I think a little bit later I started to get 30 or 40 watts. But yeah, you see here again, look, later in the afternoon, I chased the sun, moved the panels the other side of the field to get the eco flow from 45 to 53%. So that extra 9% or 8%, 8% if I do my math right, it mattered. 8% on the eco flow is a full charge of my phone from empty to full, and the phone just needs about the equivalent of 3 full charges a day. It is a beast. It is a beast. And that's with everything. That's with it in a power saving mode, and with like often airplane mode, and all the others, many bells and whistles turned off as possible. Still go through the power. Surprising how much power it uses just using it as a hotspot for the tablet. Yeah. Okay, yeah. When I put the eco flow out, it was raining so heavy, and from that, so I've got the eco flow sloped that way, facing the sun over here. But we got like little rain showers coming in from that other side, like diagonally. I had to go and put the towel over the eco flow while it was outside, even though I'd got it tucked under the slope of the solar panel. This was the day. So the initial damage that we'd taken in the weekend, we'd had a split in the bedroom wall, horizontal split, a little bit, but with the wind blowing and the fabrics being hammered about, that tear got even worse. And I think was this the one where I did a video where I went out and I picked up the flap and said, yeah, I'm going to stitch that back up, and it kind of broke off in my hand. I tore it. The fabric was so brittle. I think that might have been the Tuesday video. It might have been the Thursday. I'm not 100% sure. But it was getting worse. Things were getting worse. And yeah, when the fabric fell down, basically from this road, from this little track coming past, which gets a lot of foot traffic and quite a few cars because of the houses at the bottom of the road. At night, people from the road would just be looking straight in at the black fabric of the bedroom. And if I've got lights on inside, that would probably be transparent, and you better watch me in bed with my doggy. Not doing it, dog. No, shush. No. Telling your own jokes now. So, yeah, that was awkward. That was awkward. So obviously, with all this bad weather, I'm checking weather forecasts continuously. Obviously, they're up and down like a yo-yo. But the forecast for Wednesday were anywhere from 6 millimeters. So this is Tuesday night as I'm going to bed. The weather forecast for Wednesday is anywhere from 6 millimeters to 25 millimeters, depending which app you use, what time of day you look at it, and just. But basically, you're expecting heavy rain, and you're in a tent that's leaking like a sieve already, that's just taken further damage, and where you've now got another wall missing that you haven't had time to patch properly. So that's a worry. So into Wednesday, and the forecast is saying 25 millimeters. The eco flow's down to 30%, phone's on 70, and you're trying to extend the power, trying to keep everything going. In theory, that 30% will get me 3 or 4 full phone charges, but I've got to charge the batteries for the lights and do whatever else needs doing with power. It is mainly lights, but occasionally the tablet will need some charge at some point. It's a really old Amazon Kindle. It's a beach recliner. No, I've shown this before. It's an actual full-on, like an old lady wingback chair. I have a whole playlist that will contradict you, Tim Timony. The rain in Spain falls mainly ... on me. Whole playlist. Lots and lots of bad weather on me. I'll just take a quick brew and we'll crack on with Wednesday. We're up to Wednesday. Once you tip beyond a certain point, it does kind of leak a little bit around the bottom of the lid. I keep forgetting and thinking it's me forgetting how to drink. And then gets in the beard. End up with a brown streak down the side of the beard. Bits dripping off here onto whatever I'm wearing. Oh, just get comfortable. Okay, folks. Wednesday, where was I? Okay, no sun expected until Thursday afternoon. So we're on first thing Wednesday morning. We're being told no sun Wednesday, no sun Thursday morning, and all this rain inbound. So it's a bit of a panic. Eco flow's down to 30%. And I go out at 10:15. Yeah, the bedroom wall's even worse than it had been the night before. I go out in the rain to look at the tarp, and this is where I do that thing with a button, which is you take a small stone, wrap it inside the tarp, and tie something around it. In my case, I did a slip knot. I took a line to the ground and tied a slip knot around the stone to create what's called a button, and then I could anchor the tarp because it had torn and lost the grommet on the corner. No, it wasn't the corner. It was in the middle a little bit, but the grommet had gone anyway. So I did that. Just to try and the tarp was blowing up, and water was able to just get in just without even bothering with the tarp. So yeah, that was all a bit awkward. But is it the same point where I took one of the awnings and fastened it to the same button, so that where this fabric had left the bedroom exposed, where the tear had left the bedroom exposed, I now wanted to cover that back up, so water would come down the tarp, and instead of dropping onto the tent wall, would drop onto this awning fabric and go to ground. That was the idea. I'm not sure if this was when I did the same thing. It might have been later. I'll come back to it. You see, this is a problem doing them 2 or 3 weeks late, doing them not out of order, but because I'm so far behind. They're not as fresh in my memory. Okay, this was the one where we got the during the rain, it started to drip onto the bed, and I put the picnic blanket down. Didn't last long. So that was the first instance of using the picnic blanket upside down on the bed, so that the plastic side rather than the fabric side. Plastic was on top. Then I could just mop up any water with a towel or whatever. The drip didn't last long, yeah. But the rain was quite heavy at times. Then later it rained some more, and this is where we got not just a steady drip, but a run, you know, like you turn a tap on and it's just a steady trickle, just coming down at the one spot. And I had to put the picnic blanket wasn't enough. I had to put one of the 2 bowls that I've got, had to put that in place and catch the water directly. So I'm laying in bed with this bowl balanced on my knees, you know, and I'm trying to keep entertained and I'm trying to calm the dog, and but I've got to keep this bowl balanced. If it tips, all the water it's collected in the last half an hour or whatever is gonna get ditched into the bed anyway. Something that did happen at one point, fortunately in the bottom corner where it didn't matter so much. We'll get to it. So 1:30, and the eco flow's down to 30%. So we're holding at 30, even though I've charged a few things. But the tablet's getting low on power, so it's going to need a charge. Phone's still on 70%, I think that says. But now we're getting some real heavy rain. Okay, with some drops on the bed. Okay, I couldn't read my own handwriting there. So yeah, this was the one where we got a drip above me, and I had the bowl under it, and then we got 2 other drips off to the side. So I rearranged the picnic blanket a bit, but they're coming down where Tina is, and she wasn't happy, even though she was safely tucked under the bedding and with a picnic blanket and what have you. And I put a towel there as well to mop up what did come through. But yeah, Wednesday night into Thursday, this was a funny one, wasn't it? So this was so later Wednesday. Okay, yeah. The weather forecast is suddenly talking about 60 millimeters falling within 22 hours, and the forecast for the next day is suddenly talking about thunder and lightning. Bearing in mind, folks, I've been tracking this weather for over a week at this point, you know, looking ahead. And yeah, they'll say that a day's going to have heavy rain, and then they'll say the next day's no rain. And now, out of nowhere, we're on the heaviest day of rain, allegedly, but suddenly, the day after is going to have thunder and lightning. But I moved the solar panel around to try and get the last of the sun, see whether it could eke anything else out. Got nothing. It was another one of these, putting it there more in desperation than expectation. And yeah, we got nothing. I ended up, to get through the night, I got a little power bank that it's refused. It won't take a charge anymore on the USB port, but it's got a solar panel. It was my mate Joby's once upon a time. And so I put it out for 3 or 4 days when I can. I'll put it out in the sun to try and top it up in case an emergency happens, in case I'm ever so low on power that I need it. Well, this was that. I was that low. So I was using this little power bank to get me through the night. Yeah, charge the tablet and the phone from it. Tablet fully and phone partially. Now this was the one. So that was Wednesday evening into Wednesday night. So Thursday morning, I wake up at 3:30. with a wet crotch. If you've seen the video, you're telling yourselves jokes again, aren't you? You're telling your own jokes. You got to wait for me to do them. Not like that. Heavy rain, torrential rain in the night woke me up, but obviously not straight away. And this where we'd had the cascade of water, you know, the continuous stream dripping down or running down. Obviously, I've moved I can't lay there forever with balancing a bowl on my knees while I'm asleep or whatever. So I'd put that off to one side, and as we're moving in the night and as the dog's moving, Tina, shush. As the dog's moving, the picnic blanket has been zhuzhed away. You know, it's moved out of position. So this stream's been running for God knows how long, through 2 quilts and landing on my nether regions. So yeah, 3:30, and I've got a wet crotch and I've got a wet patch of the bed. So that's fun. In fairness, it took less than half an hour for my body to dry off. Maybe the bedding took a little bit longer, you know, just from the heat. A body my size puts out quite a bit of heat. I think about, it's 1 watt per kilogram, isn't it? So 100 kilogram body will give off about 100 watts. It's a good amount in a contained area. So the bedding eventually dried out. Probably took a little bit longer than my clothing and myself. Remembering I'm sleeping fully clothed. Because I might have to dash out and fix the tent and stuff in the night. Tina, let's have some quiet, darling. It's just a car. It's not going to hurt you. Hey. Oi! It would help if they didn't stop right outside. I'm not the king of the road. I'm not in charge of them. Okay, where am I, folks? I've got my wet crotch. I'm just drying off. So yeah, I get the bowl in place and everything, and again it starts dripping in 3 areas. I've got the bowl under the main one. The other 2 are off to the side. We got the picnic blanket and a towel. Mop up what we can. But all along, unbeknownst to us, it's coming in all around us. All 3 bedroom walls, all 3 external bedroom walls are leaking water to some degree or another. I haven't discovered yet where the main issue is with that, but also the roof. The tap on the roof is letting some through, which is then running down the black. So there's the bedroom suspended. So there's the tent, or the frame of the tent, the poles, tarp for a roof. You got the remnants of some of the remnants of the old roof there, which is broken and hanging off and missing. But you've got the bedroom suspended. Some water comes through the tarp, through where the real tent ceiling is missing entirely, and drips onto the internal bedroom. Now most of it runs down the side, but when it does that, it's still landing inside the tent. The tent is its own fully self-contained envelope, its own fully, the floor, the skirt at the bottom, the walls and the ceiling would have been one complete. So, and then the bedroom suspended inside. So when the water runs down, it's still technically inside the tent, just under the bedroom floor. And then anyway that you've got holes in the bedroom floor from friction and rubbing on stones, mice popping up, whatever it is, that water can then get in just under from on the tent floor into the bedroom floor, which I think is what is happening in some of it. The way some of these pools of water appear when there's no drip and no sign of water running to that spot, it just appears in a puddle at that spot. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think this was also the point. At one point, I moved the bowl away again. When the rain started, I moved it away to this bottom corner, and the dog moved, and there was a bit of spillage out of the bowl onto the edge of the bed, the bottom corner. But it probably made not much difference really because of the water that has been absorbed everywhere else. Yeah. Yeah, Tina got a few droplets of water on her head at this point, which she wasn't happy about, having a slightly, you know, it's only 3 or 4 drops before I noticed it and stopped it, but she wasn't happy. She wasn't happy at all. And of course, she's shaking, you know, the thing the dogs do when they get wet. So she shakes from head to foot, and I'm trying to balance a bloody bowl of water on my knees. Yeah, that was at one point. Yeah, little darling. Now, I've lost my place. Where am I? Yeah, okay, we're on Thursday, aren't we? Yeah, the ball day. Okay, now, despite all this talk of thunder and lightning in the weather forecast starts to indicate that if you can make it to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's over. The week of hell. From now on, the rest of today will be sun, and then tomorrow and the day after, it'll be sun. Maybe a shower on Saturday. We know how that turned out, don't we, folks? But this was the hope at the time. We're going to have a couple of hours with thunder and lightning. And they're saying thunder and lightning, but they're now saying not much rain. It's like a millimetre or 2. At some points they're saying it's a fraction of a millimetre during this thunder and lightning. I don't know how many thunderstorms you've come through where there's no rain, but this was going to be one. It does happen occasionally, to be honest, but I get it into my head that it's going to be over. I just have to make it until that afternoon. So I do a video about this, don't I? This was the day 6 of the week of hell. I think like the second most popular video in the whole series. I think, unless one of the more recent ones has picked up more in the interim. But yeah, I'm starting to plan, thinking it's over. So I take Tina for an early walk, and I feed her. So this is 8:45, and I'm feeding the dog. Normally she eats on a like late afternoon, early evening, but she wouldn't eat the day before because of the bad weather. So I try and feed her that morning, and get that out of the way. I don't mind her going one day with no food. In fact, some say it's good for dogs, so we will do it occasionally. But I don't want to be doing like a couple of days, or making her go a day and a half or something if she doesn't have to. So we get that. Where am I? I've lost my notes. Okay, here we go. Now this was the one where we critically ran out of power. This was the one where the phone ended up on 0, and the eco flow was down to its cut-off level and wouldn't give me. It's got 20% storage, but it won't give me any of it. So that was a bit annoying. I needed the phone to adjust that down to 15 to let me have a bit of power, so I could get the phone going. Catch 22. And yeah, partly it happened because of this low power mode with the phone. It's annoying, but it happened. But it's first thing in the morning. It's day. You know, we're just about at daylight, or we're just starting the day. It's probably dull and overcast, but with a little bit of less overcast. And so while I'm walking the dog, I've put the solar panel out. Again, more in hope. But while we're walking the dog, we do get a brief bit of brighter sky. Not sunshine per se, but a little bit brighter. And in the 20 minutes, half an hour that I'm out with Tina, the EcoFlow picks up a few percentage points of power. Once it hits like 22, 23%, the phone starts charging a little bit. So when I get back, I can turn the phone on. I wait for 5%. Once the phone gets to 5%, I can turn the phone on. I can change the setting on the EcoFlow down to 15 or 10%, free up some of that power to be used and make a proper charge of the phone, regardless of whether the sun shines or not. But bit by bit, I think we did get a little bit. Yeah, we started taking some power and reset the limits. Sun was in and out for quite a while, and the forecast kept changing. Are we going to get this thunder and lightning? Is it going to rain? Is it not? Are we getting a solid bit of sun this afternoon? Are we not? And if you've watched that Thursday video, that day 6 video, it disappeared. Suddenly at 10 or 11, I'm outside doing a video in sunshine. The EcoFlow starts to charge, and basically we get up to 75% pretty quickly. Great, fantastic. All that worry. Now, you know, we were out for a while there. I mean, well, it was down to 20, but I couldn't access the 20. So it was a problem, but it was only a problem for a couple of hours. And then, you know, it was the last couple of hours of darkness, and then waiting for 9 o'clock, 9:30, whatever, and a little bit of brightness. Like I said, initially, it didn't have to be sunny. It's a 100-watt panel. If you can start picking up 15, 16, 18 watts, it's enough to get me going. So yeah. So we battled through. We got some good charge into the EcoFlow in the end. And this was where, so I've made a video through Thursday, but the Tuesday videos are doing quite well. And there's always this question, should you release another video on YouTube while you've got one that's running, while you've got one that's doing well? It's always a question amongst people. Some say yes, and then you might get two that are doing really well, and they might feed off each other. And others say no, you might cannibalize the people who would have seen the search, the existing one are just going to go and see the latest and then not bother. Don't know, but I put the video out anyway in the end, because why not? Now that evening, I think this was when my friend Mark arrived and brought me one of these local free papers that a lady called Colleen, insists that I have and gives Mark to bring me. But Mark was about to leave the country, and so this is where he brought me the little bit of whiskey, about 100 milliliters. I'm not sure if I keep saying millimeters or if I'm just stumbling over it a little bit and mispronouncing milliliters. Something goes wrong there when I try and say that. But yeah, my friend Mark brought the papers. He was leaving, I think he was leaving that weekend. I think it was that weekend. Oh, this was a night. Okay, this same Thursday. See, guys, Tuesdays and Thursdays are where I think I'm settling on for doing TrampCast specials or hangouts when I do them. So those are basically live streams in addition to these more structured Sunday live streams. And I thought about doing one on this Thursday, but my lights weren't charged. The EcoFlow was on 75%. I was unsure how power was going to be the next day, so I didn't want to go using a shed load of my power. If I'd been on 100% with everything topped up and all the lights charged, I probably would have done it, but I decided not to take the risk. So yeah, so I postponed it and decided, you know what, I might do on Friday, which I usually wouldn't do, but anyway, into Friday, folks, into Friday. And again, this is another one of these. I'd been wanting Scruff Dog, he was here earlier, he might not still be here. On Thursday night, he does at midnight-ish, my time. He does a live stream eating MREs and similar, you know, military type food and stuff. Usually old, and I wanted to stay awake and watch that and join, but zonked. I was so tired. I fell asleep really early this night, probably, it's not in my notes, but from what I remember, probably before 10 o'clock I fell asleep. And yeah. Now I woke up at 3 a.m. I've missed Scruff Dog entirely. They're shorter ones, these ones. Tina. So Friday morning I wake up at 3 a.m. and yeah. I spent the night just watching kind of prepper videos and bushcraft, you know, people, you know, trying to prepare for things that worse while I'm living in a field. It's where I've learned some of my little tricks, like the button for the tarp, and some of the knots that I've tried using, not always successfully. I tried using friction hitch type knots on something the other week, but it was a shiny plastic rope. The friction wasn't really there for the friction hitch, so that didn't really work. But I tried, you know, pick up a hint and a tip here and there and try and incorporate it into life. If I can find a new technique every now and again, and just, you know, a new trick, something to make things better, why not? Also, I've always been kind of interested in this stuff anyway, because you never know what might happen, folks. One day 2 or 3 calamities might happen in life and you might find yourself living in a fucking field. TrampCast 001 for the full story. Okay. Oh, this was when my USB extension started playing up. So I have a 3 meter, the EcoFlow lives here by the door. I think I can show you. It's down there under that light, that grey and black thing on top of the plastic food box. That lives there. And I have a wire go through to the bedroom so that I can like top up the tablet or trickle charge the phone a little bit while I'm in there, so I don't have to just bring my phone through and put it down and not use it. I only get a couple of watts, and it's enough. If the phone's not doing anything too heavy, it's enough to hold the phone at the level it's at. So if I'm down to 50%, it'll hold roughly at 50, or at least drop to 40 really slowly. But the extension cable has become a little bit 50-50, because it's on the floor. It gets walked on, it gets pulled, Tina trips on it. If it's on the floor and the puddle arrives, you know, the floor's a dirty place as well. I'm living in a field. Over the month, a lot of grit and soil type stuff has either come in on my feet or just blown in because field. And then it gets wet and it's all a bit sludgy and yucky. Shit happens, folks. Shit happens. But the connection's getting dodgy. Some of the USB wires that I'm putting in, so it's a male at this end and a female at that end, you know, an extension for the USB. But you get quite a loose connection. Some of the wires I plug in, I have to jiggle about to get a working connection. It seems to vary with temperature as well a little bit. On a cold day, when that metal shrunk, I get a better fit. Don't know. It's strange, but it's become less reliable. So I did start having to bring things out. So I'm like relaying between the phone and the tablet, and charging more out here. So yeah, that started to become an issue. And to be honest, the last week I don't think I've used the USB extension at all. What I'm doing now on an evening, I'm unplugging the EcoFlow and I'm carrying it through into the bedroom. And I've got most days, there's a rubbish bin in there. And I'll put the I hear movement. Fuck off, you little bastard. I poured some noxious liquid down the mouse hole, and then I just rammed a a plastic bag into the hole. Something's there now trying to come out. Last night it tried to bite its way through the bag, but it was quite tightly packed. Oh, bastards. I don't like sharing my tent with them. Where was I? I'm on Friday. It's a USB cable. Oh, I've been carrying the EcoFlow into the bedroom. That's right. So, if I have a bin bag on the go, a bin bag, you know, one of the black trash bags. It's generally on the go for 5 days or so. I don't like to keep them too long, depending on what I've put in them. If I've thrown any food away or something, they have to go out sooner. But if it's bottles and cans and what have you, then no problem. So I've been carrying the EcoFlow through there and just plugging in at night directly. The only problem with that is plugging the XT60 connector from the solar panel into the EcoFlow. XT40, XT60, can't remember, but it's got an I on the end. XT60i I'm going to go with. But plugging in and pulling that out daily, and sometimes multiple times if I'm running over the other side of the field, that's having an effect on the cables going into the connector. So I don't want to do that too much. I'd rather not be doing that. But without a reliable extension lead, that's more tricky. But that's what I've been doing, folks. I think that's what my notes were saying here. Yeah, but the extension cable was getting temperamental. That was the main point, I think. What else? Yeah, perhaps I got some water into that extension cable. Oh God, this was the day. So I was going to cook this day, and I got 2 giant, like hot dog sausages. I did have. I don't know if the mice have got them, or Tina got them, or if I've reorganized. That's the more likely one, folks. I've probably reorganized them into oblivion. I got no fucking idea where they are. Shit just gets lost around here. It really does. I was trying to be organized. I mean, look at my nice food trolley, my nice veg trolley, my veg rack, which has got some tins and jars and things, but the top shelf has just become a dumping ground for stuff because nowhere else to put it. There was, at one point, I put a box on top of there, and it was a box with all of my cooking items. Hand in front of the camera, sorry folks. All of my cookery, you know, fish slice and sharp knives and spare knives and forks and cups and plates. But we had a really strong wind, and it blew the tent in, and it pushed the entire box off the top shelf and onto the floor, and I lost a plate and a bowl and a cup. There's some others that survived, but it was a silly idea. I was trying to be organised, but that wasn't going to work, was it? That wasn't going to work. Okay, let's crack on. I've got bogged down, haven't I? I've got bogged down on Friday. Okay. Yeah, but lost my hot dog sausages though. I've got a tin of them somewhere else in there, the green tin in the food rack. Fucking 2 jumbo hot dog sausage type things, Frankfurters, whatever you're going to call them. I don't fucking know. I definitely haven't eaten them, and they're definitely not there, not that I can find. I don't know. Anyway, let's crack on. So yeah, the forecast is cloudy for the day, and I hope we're going to, you know, sneak half an hour of sun here or 10 minutes there, and just keep on top of things. 10:30 we get 17 watts, better than nothing, but it's not sunny at all. And this is where my new friend Irika called around. She's been around a couple of times previously, bringing things for Tina. This is a lady whose dog had died quite recently. And she brought a few things around She brought some bread, cheese, and meat, and she brought some dog food and some meds for Tina. Gonna try some medication her dog had for an arthritis type condition. Try them, see how it goes. So far, she doesn't really like having them, so I have to try and sneak them in. And I haven't noticed any difference so far, but we'll try. We'll see if we see any benefit. But it's tricky, folks. It's tricky. Now, so yeah. Thank you, Erika. Thank you. I think this was the day she was about to leave the country. I think this was the visit. So she'll be back in a month or two, and visit again then. I haven't found any wrapper. You say it was probably Tina. I would have. She generally, when she does sneak something, I'll hear her and I'll come out and give her a quick tap on the head and say, "Fucking stop, you little bugger." I don't mind her having stuff like that if I've given it to her, but if she's just taking it, it's a bit annoying. But I'll generally, she'll sit there licking the wrapper for about 2 hours afterwards, trying to get every last morsel. There was a time that the rats took a banana, or was it 2 bananas? Catch you later, Karen. Oh, Timothy asked, did many locals on their walks stop and say hello? Quite a few. There's 3 distinct groups. There's the people who will wave and say hello. They will initiate. There's the ones where I initiate, and then you've got the ones who just head down and just blank you. Oh, or even worse, if they're driving past and they just turn, as they get alongside, they turn their head 90 degrees the other way. I can't see you, you don't exist. I mean, I understand it to a certain extent. The people who live down here, they probably don't want a tramp at the end of the road. I don't know. I try to be friendly. I don't get angry and start shouting after them and calling them all the bastards under the sun or anything. I understand, you know. Unless the ones that do kind of annoy me are the ones that are staring right at me, so I give a wave, and then they just carry on staring and keep walking. So, you know, the ones that ignorantly just totally blank me, even though they know I'm there, we've had eye contact, they've seen me wave, and they just that rankles a bit. I don't bite, you know, I don't rise to it, but it does. Ignorance, that's a wave. It's a signal of, you know, hail stranger, well met, kind of, you know, I mean you no harm, I hope you mean me no harm. It should get an acknowledgement. Anyway, yeah. I'll come back. I'll come back to other questions if there are any soon. Let me get through Friday. Erika called around. Yeah. Okay. This was I did do a TrampCast special that Friday, so that'll be the TrampCast special that's named The Week of Hell. That'll be in the title. And yeah, that was intended to be the main discussion point of the evening, wasn't it, Jack Attack? If you're there. Has he been here? Did I see him earlier? I think I did. Or maybe I'm just misremembering. But that was the one, 4.5 hours, the TrampCast special, that was meant to be talking about the bad weather that we'd had. And every time, I think after 4.5 hours, we'd got as far as, so we started with the Friday when it was supposed to start and kind of didn't really. We got as far as the Saturday lunchtime. And that was 4.5 hours with you guys. With the TrampCast specials are more relaxed. It's less structured, more chat and interaction. And I decided this week to have something called a TrampCast Hangout as well. So, just to explain briefly, normal TrampCast, that's this. The successes, the failures, the happenings in the week, as I summarise it. TrampCast specials would usually probably have one specific topic, I imagine. And then TrampCast Hangouts is probably just more me bored, going online and kind of, who's out there, who wants to chat? Now, we did one the other day and it kind of ran out of steam a little bit. I think that's my fault. I think I need to put a little bit of structure in there. I need to have a few topics, but not... So TrampCast Special will be topics about me, like when there's a storm or when there's something, maybe a police visit or something. So that will be a TrampCast Special. The TrampCast Hangouts will be more... Maybe I've seen some articles online, or I've seen a video, maybe something space or science, or maybe I'll just have a couple of topics and we'll just, hang out and chat. Sometimes about me, some bits about me and what's happening, but some other topics I'll just try and structure it a little bit, try and not lose steam like we did in the one the other day. But this TrampCast special on the Friday that we're talking about here, 4.5 hours. I kept saying, okay, look, we're down to five viewers, we'll call it quits soon, and then more people would arrive and we'd be back up to 10 or 12, and I'd carry on for a little bit more. 4.5 hours, folks, 4.5 hours. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I was planning to do the TrampCast, and I was trying to get all my batteries charged and the lights charged and everything ready for it. And this is when my friend Tom came around. And my friend Tom, when he's in the country and when he comes around on a Thursday or a Friday, he will often bring me a dinner, some warm food. In this instance, chicken dinner. Winner, chicken dinner. So thank you, Tom. He's currently not in the country. But thank you, my friend. Thank you. And we sit and have a chat for an hour or two, depending on weather and circumstances. But I think this one was, this was in the middle of the week of hell. We had about 3/4 of an hour, I think, and it was getting chilly and windy. So he made his excuses and left. I don't want to. He's an older bloke. We don't want to be keeping him sat out in the cold. And to be honest, I think I was in my shorts, as I still am. Still haven't put a long pair of pants on this winter, folks. I've done the entire winter in shorts. Most of it in the same pair of shorts, it has to be said. They're probably going to need throwing away afterwards. I'm not sure that they'll survive a wash. It's probably only the grime holding them together. Tramp, folks, tramp. I don't have a lot of water for washing stuff. Okay, so after Tom left, final preps for the TrampCast. As I said, the preparation was just me refreshing myself on what had happened in that week to date, in the week of hell so far, so that I could talk a little bit about it during the TrampCast special. As I've said, I've maybe covered it in overview, and then when I tried to talk about the specifics, we got as far as talking about Friday and Saturday. That was it. That's all we did. But as I said, TrampCast specials are more relaxed, so that was all right. That was okay. So yeah. So as I said, the EcoFlow was more or less fully charged. I was charging my batteries and everything, and preparing for the TrampCast. 4.5 hours, folks. I think we ended at about... I didn't start while late. I tried to catch like the American and Canadian audience a little bit, or maybe people in Spain and England and Ireland who are, it's later at night. So rather than this afternoon slot that we're doing here, I'm thinking more 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Spanish time, maybe even later, and just catch some people who don't get a chance to watch at this time. I mean, for the Americans, 10 or 11 in the morning when we're starting. So yeah, with this regular slot, so a different time slot, maybe a different audience, give other people a chance to drop in and watch. So into Saturday, folks. That was my Friday. I carried on right through Friday Night Tights. Didn't bother with it. Didn't miss it. Didn't care. I just kept going with TrampCast special. So into Saturday. Tina, 4 o'clock walk, 4 a.m. dog walk. She sat up. She was uncomfortable. She was jostling. That something wasn't right. So that's usually the signal that, you know, that she's getting a little bit desperate for something. So 4 o'clock, I'm out there. It's cold. It's blowing a gale, and I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. I might have had a jumper on, and I'm out there, and we're expecting rain and whatever, because we're always expecting it during this week of hell. And nothing. She does nothing. I'm out there waiting and walking her. Whenever she doesn't do anything, I keep walking her a little further, and eventually she'll do something usually. I'm out there for half an hour, freezing my bits off. Nothing. So I don't know what she was uncomfortable about. I don't know what she was trying to signal to me and tell me. Don't know. But I didn't really appreciate the 4 o'clock interruption of my sleep. 8:15, I get up and put the solar panel out, and you know, usual routine. Dog walk, boil a couple of cups of water if it's not too windy for coffee, and yeah, straight away we're getting 30 watts on the solar panel. At 8:15 in the morning, I'm getting 30 watts. Tina, oi, stop, please. Stop it. So yeah, straight away we're getting a good charge, and 8:15 in the morning, that's ridiculous. But unfortunately it clouded over soon after, and the forecast is for cloudy and rainy day, but in terms of rainfall, not too bad. So, you know, dark and cloudy all day, sporadic rain, but nothing too much to worry about. I generally don't worry about anything less than 2 millimeters, because that'll sit on the roof, and maybe it'll get a bit warmer after, and it'll evaporate, or it'll just run off and not be noticed. When we start getting above 5 millimeters for the day, and anything above 10, I'm kind of panicking. If the tent was intact, it'd be, you know, water off a duck's back, almost literally. Figuratively, actually, but yeah. But with a tent that's as broken up as this one is, but I panic when I start seeing 10 millimeters and above. And that a couple of days ago, when they started talking about 60 millimeters at one point. Soon disappeared. It never happened, fortunately. We were so lucky with a lot of this, guys, where the forecasts were talking about 10, 15, 20, 25 millimeters most. And we're back. Hopefully I wasn't gone long. I was just saying about how lucky we've been with the weather forecast, or with the rain. All these forecasts of 10, 20, 25 millimeters, and then it not happening, it evaporating and just disappearing from the forecast. Or just being a light shower or something. Or a heavy shower but short-lived. We've been so lucky, really. Now, you wouldn't think so when we get to next week's, no, maybe even the week after's. Basically, this week we've just had, when I took the mattresses out in the end. Had a centimetre of water in places on the floor, under the mattress. Well, the mattress was sat in it. We'll get to it in other episodes upcoming. Tuesday and Thursday is what I've got penciled in my head. Penciled in your head? Yeah. But yeah, so it started sunny. We got some power in the EcoFlow, clouded over, and the forecast is for rain, but not for bad. Now get this, folks. 9:30, fully charged the EcoFlow. 9:30. A couple of weeks ago, we weren't getting any sun on the panel until 10. and now fully charged by 9:30 during the week of hell. Now this is where, after walking the dog and doing everything and getting my coffee, I sat down and just watched back the previous night's TrampCast special. As soon as the chat replay was processed by YouTube, it takes them a while. It's usually the next morning, 8 or 9 o'clock, by the time the chat replays are available. But I watched it back, and I got to say, wow, yeah, really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it at the time doing it. Enjoyed watching it back. I'm probably some kind of narcissist, aren't I? You hear this with people on TV that will never watch their own programs. They won't watch their own performances. I know that sounds very grandiose. I quite like watching me. Don't know, folks. Don't know. I don't know what that says about me, but it is what it is. So there I am. I watched it all back. So that was most of my day. Obviously, that's 4.5 hours out of the day. I'd walked the dog, got my coffee, waited for YouTube to do the post processing to make the TrampCast special available with the chat replay, and then I've sat there and watched it. Kind of 4.5 hours, a big chunk of the day. So we get to the late afternoon and evening, and I'm sat there again with the bowl on the bed with the drips coming in while it rains. Oh, this was the night. Oh God, look at this one. Okay, so it kind of stops raining. The rain slows down for a while, and I need to go over to the shop, to the Chinese bazaar, the nearest kind of local shop. And I'm going to leave Tina. She even with the harness that I've got where I lift her back end and help support her, she can't walk that far now. So I leave her here in the bedroom. It's all zipped up or tied up as much as it can be. The gap in the door, I've got the bowl on the floor in case it starts to rain or whatever. And I figure that between the obstacles on the floor, the bowl in the doorway and the door kind of fastened up, and the outer door pegged closed, I figured that would be okay. So I set off with the rubbish bin up to the top of the road, put the trash in the big communal bin, and carry on another 20 or 30 meters to the Chino Bazaar. Buy what I need to buy, in and out. I mean, literally in and out. The thing I need, the thing I've gone for is right inside the door, or near the till, and there's no one there, so I'm in and out. And I come back across the main road at the bottom, and there's a car coming down the road, and it gets to the start of where I branch off and come through the field, and the car kind of stops. And I'm thinking, what's going on? What's he stopped there for? Funny place to stop. You're on a single track road, so people live down there. That you're blocking the road. You can't stop there. And as I cross the main road, I wait for a break in traffic, get across, and I see what the holdup is. Fucking dog. She's scrambled out of the bedroom, pulled the bedding off the bed onto the wet floor in place. She's barged through the bowl that had water in from when it had been on the bed, spilled it on the floor in here, and then she's barged through the door, even though it's kind of fastened, clipped, pegged. It doesn't fasten properly anymore, and she's broken all the zips off from all the way around the fabric. They didn't work, but standing on them has broken them. But she's pushed through, and even though she can't walk, she's hobbled all the way to the top of the field, to the end of the track, and she's just on the edge of the track. There's a bit of a verge, and they've stopped to look at the dog and wonder who she's with. Just as I arrive back, and she kind of starts to, I can't say run, but she starts to kind of bum shuffle happily towards me, and I wave them and kind of, thank them for not running her over or anything. She wasn't in the road, but I guess there was a danger that she could have gone in the road. So from then on, I now tie her up when I have to go to the shop. I just tie her to this. There's a little tree outside. I can't take her with me. She howls once a second or barks once a second every second while I'm not there. It's separation anxiety. Because since I got her, we've spent every minute together, basically. But there are just times when you got to do stuff. You got to go somewhere or do something. And I literally, it's 5 minutes less from setting off to being back. And so now she gets tied to the tree. It's not ideal, folks. It's not ideal, but what can you do? What can you do? So that was my girl. This is us. Where are we? We're in Saturday, aren't we? Saturday evening. I've just gone to the shop and Tina broke free, and yeah, oh bugger. Now, if I asked her to walk that far, she wouldn't do it, even with me supporting her and holding her. But there she is, bum shuffling along. Yeah. Anyway, it's Saturday night, so obviously I watch Big Clive. And we got him to say Torrevieja properly at one point, I believe. We certainly spelt it out how to say it, which is, you know, when I'm in chat, I'm just at DeltaMikeTorrevieja. No, I'm not. Oh yeah, I am over on. He's on Twitch. Yeah, I'm just DeltaMikeTorrevieja. Whereas in chat on YouTube, I'm Delta Mike down and out in Torrevieja, the full channel name, which is a little bit awkward. But yeah, we got him to say it properly. And then straight after Big Clive, it's back to YouTube for Scruff Dog and his Saturday night hangout. And woke Tina at 2 o'clock in the morning, before bed this time, rather than having to wake me up. So yeah, so that's Saturday into Sunday. Sunny start to the day. EcoFlow's on 78, which is great. Again, 8:15, 30 watts. 8:15, 30 watts, and we're away. 8:25, we're up on 94% already. We're gonna be fully charged by it looks like about 8:30, certainly before 9. We're gonna be fully charged. And this is where the lady from down the road. I'm out making my coffees after walking the dog 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever, 8, 9 o'clock, and I'm sat there. I think I sat out drinking my coffee, and I'm sat there with Tina, and the lady walks past going up the road to the garage and wherever, and then she comes back down and brings a few bits and pieces and puts a €20 note on the floor with a stone over it. So thank you very much, lady down the road, whose name I've never quite caught, but who I nicknamed Morticia. Sorry folks, sorry to the lady. You got to have a nickname for somebody, haven't you? How do you refer to them? I can't keep saying the lady down the road with the dark hair. So anyway, yeah, €20, but she puts it under stone, then backs off, you know, and so we don't really get to talk. As much as it gets is a hello and a thank you, and that's all I can say really, because she's backing away already, frightened of the dog. See, she remembers when Tina would run around, and when Tina would break free and run up to her. Oops, there was a time. One of the 2 mattresses I've got came from this lady, and on the same day she brought me this big cushion that I think I've still got somewhere behind me. I've got this big cushion, and it actually came off a sofa, a settee that she was throwing away, and she brought me 2 of them, and then she wanted to actually give me the full sofa, the full settee. But at this point I was in a tumble down shack that was 6 sticks in the ground with a fairly small tarp over the top. I didn't have anywhere to put a full sofa. I think it might even have been a sofa bed. I just didn't have. You can't put it outside. Not if you haven't got a cover or something. You need a shelter for outside furniture, because when it rains in Spain. Was it Tim Timoney said before, it doesn't rain in Spain because of the plane? No, when it rains, it fucking rains. And then also you got mice and rats, and I'm in a field. I can't just put a sofa out there and leave it out there. some of the other stuff, the actual patio furniture, some of the, some of the chairs that I've got now are fine outside. But yeah, but thank you to the lady down the road. I mean, as I was saying before, I think in terms of euros donated in person in cash, I think my biggest donor. Because over 2 years, 10 euros here and 20 euros there, once every couple of months, but over 2 years that adds up. So when I have decided when I do get back to civilization, when I do get my money out of my bank, when I do become me again in the eyes of the bank and get my cash, I'm going to send her I don't know whether it'll be like a big present or something, or whether I'll reimburse her the cash, because it's been phenomenal. And she was doing it way back when I was just, I don't think it was when I was just in the field, because she probably wouldn't have known I was here, when I was here with no shelter. But when I built that first shelter out of 6 sticks and a tarpaulin, maybe not even then, because that would have been low and it had a concave roof to begin with. Maybe it was after I got 4 branches and I made 2 loops, two arches to turn the concave roof into a convex roof. I was so lucky to find those. Those were long branches with no offshoots, just very tall and straight. Yeah. Don't know if those are on the videos. Maybe when I took the first shelter down, when I got the previous tent. So at the beginning, in the first month of the channel, it's a long video. It's like an hour and a half long, called "What an Exciting Day" or "What a Long Day." But in there, I deconstruct the homemade shelter, and then I deconstruct the bed, and yeah, the arches would have been there. But anyway, folks, yeah. So Morticia, the lady down the way, brings me some I think bread and cheese and stuff. I think it was, and 20 euros. So thank you. 20 euros, folks. That ain't cheap. That's what we say around these parts. But the winds are picking up, folks. This is as we go into the afternoon. Now it's Sunday, and we're heading in the afternoon. So TrampCast preparations, and then obviously doing TrampCast. So that would have been that week. Now that was probably the one, if I'm remembering. I could have this wrong. We did a TrampCast, and the winds were so strong I was getting almost hit on the back of the head by this wall, leaning in entirely. And I think that would have been that one. The TrampCast at the end of the first week of the week of hell. I know how bizarre that sounds. I know how silly that sounds. But what I called the week of hell initially turned into 3 weeks, didn't it? And I'm not even sure it's over now. We'll have to see. Okay, folks, let me go back to chat and see. I know I've missed some. Let me go. Oh, Yoga with Headlands here. Hello. I'll come back to you. I'll work my way through. So, sitting a dry patch, Tim Timoney asked. Karen's talking about canvas tents and their limitations. Everyone says that they're better for longevity, though, that they last longer. But there's always trade-offs, isn't there? It's always going to be difficult working within a budget, and I'm running on charity, so it's tricky. Tim Timoney said something about 8%, and I'm lost. What have I missed? Oh, I think we're talking about when I chased the sun, when I moved the solar panels the other side and got an extra 8% charge to try and get through the night. Do you have USB lights? I think Helen was asking. I do. I have many. I also have battery operated strings of fairy lights that work from USB powered AA and AAA batteries. I think they're double A's in my strings of fairy lights. So I've got 8 double A's and 8 triple A's that plug literally onto a USB-C cable. Well, a USB-A to USB-C cable that are all really falling apart and really struggling. They're 50-50 whether they work when I plug them in. I have to plug them in, get them working, then sit the battery down just so. And if the cable gets knocked, things stop charging, and I have to adjust. They have little flashing lights on. They're quite good. They don't have anywhere near the capacity of a proper battery, or even a proper rechargeable battery, but because half of the volume's taken up with the electronics. Tina, enough! Fuck's sake! I don't even know what she's barking at. People walking past, or voices in the distance, or a bus up on the main road. Could be anything. The list is growing. Let me go back. Where am I? Yoga with Helen, USB lights. Also my lantern that Karen bought me, that is here. Solar powered and also USB. You can see the red lights on it, charging at the moment. In case we'd gone on any longer. Here's the thing, folks. This is the last TrampCast with the time zones that we're in. Before next week's, we'll have done the clocks forward thing, won't we? So we'll be calling this, which is now quarter past 7 my time, Spain. We'll be calling this 8:15, this level of darkness, won't we? So we probably won't need lights in future for the TrampCasts. Yeah, oh, I've left you looking the wrong way. Sorry, I left you looking the wrong way. So next week we probably won't even need lights. But yeah, I do have lots of lighting. I've also got solar powered lights. I've got one. Let's have a look. Can you see the yellow triangle there? There's a little solar panel on this side of it. The other side is a really bright light that has 3 or 4 modes of use, whether it's on constantly, whether it comes on when it detects passive infrared, detects movement. I think there's 2 levels that are passive infrared. One with the light on low, one with the light on higher. But it goes off again after no movement, after a few seconds. But I only use the on, obviously, fully on. Also, here's a light. This will go back. The circular light there is also a fan. The kind of the ring light. That was obtained for me by a bloke called Damien way back. If you look at the beginning of the channel, Damien was a frequent visitor to the camp and contributor. Damien and a friend of his, Simon, who got me the first of the tents, but brought me lots of things, the camping stove and everything. Bottles of gas for the little camp stove. But he brought me that light, and again that's working off the AA rechargeable batteries, and it's LED lights, so low power usage and running off rechargeable batteries. So yeah. Let me go back and then try and work forward. Timony was talking about the chair, yeah, and about how it never rains in Spain. Yeah. Stop thinking, keep drinking. It's only coffee at the minute, and I'm still on the first. I've got 2 cups here, and this one will be cool now, won't it? Oh, I missed my mouth again. I'll call it tepid. Not cold yet, but tepid. Now this other one will actually be hot. I'll have to be careful. Even though we're 2.25 hours in, and this was boiled about 1/4 of an hour before TrampCast started. 2.5 hours. Hot but not burning. Not scalding hot. Well played, your ball is balanced, yeah. There was the question about local stopping and talking, yeah, they're fairly friendly on the whole. Had a couple of kids, in the past, I've had a couple of kids come down and like talk to me, which I kind of caution them against, as a general rule. It's nice that they're friendly and everything, but you got to be careful, haven't you, when you're a kid. I mean, these were 10, 11, and yeah, I've had one of them came back once and asked, "Do you need anything?" And it was like, "No, mate, no. I don't need anything from kids anyway, do I?" I don't know whether parents had sent him or it was like a school project kind of thing. But I kind of caution against just walking up to strangers in tents when you're that age. But yesterday I had a gang of kids come down the field, and I heard lots of giggling, and I think they were challenging each other who can go and approach the scary man in the field. And they got quite close, and the dog was barking, and there's like two girls. They're backing off and running away because the dog's barking. But there was a braver young lad who came and stood and said hello, and then was left kind of hanging by his friend. So he walked off again to go back to his friends. That's quite nice. Better than the other week when I had two kids come down the field, stand there and throw stones at the tent, which hit right next to where my head was. Didn't hit me, but could have so easily. Bastards. Yeah. Let me I'll just catch up on a few more, and we'll. We're nearly there at the end, are we? Yeah, okay. No mouse stole your hot dogs. Maybe not. Chances are I've just I've probably organised them into oblivion. They'll be somewhere clever but stupid. I'll put them in a box maybe so that nothing can get at them. And now I don't remember the who, how, what, where's. I must have 5 or 6 of those big tote boxes, I think they're called, and foods, and then I've got littler ones that are for more temporary kind of storage. And then I've got my food trolley over there. So I so easily could have just took them away somewhere. Who knows, folks? Who knows? Okay, Adam and Mel have Tilly that likes to sneak snacks. Yeah, dogs, I shout at Tina sometimes when she takes things that she's not supposed to. She came out here the other day and her food. Let's see if I can put the light on. Her food was down there in their blue bowls, and some of these carrier bags, some of these shopping bags around here, I've had to move them today to make room for it to get through while I was doing TrampCast. But at least 2 of these bags have some doggy snacks, doggy treats, sealed in bags. But one of them suddenly ripped open, and I caught Tina just casually chewing away on a pile of snacks as if they were normal dog food, little bugger. Okay, folks, now that's the end of the week that we're covering. As I said, TrampCast 59, we were covering the week up to Sunday, March the 9th. Obviously that's not up to date. We're a few weeks behind at this point. We've got to get up to date, certainly before next Sunday's. I got 2 weeks to fit in before next Sunday. I'm thinking Tuesday and Thursday. Again, my thoughts at the end of this week that we're covering about what's to come. I usually do a little section on upcoming. Obviously, we're still in the middle of the storm at this point. So that's the dominating thing. The storm, the fucking mice, the flooding within the tent, the taking on water. I was aware at this point that we're up to that the bed was starting to get water, and obviously that became worse. I know now that became worse over time, and that would have been a fear at this point. I've got my emergency backup tents, a 2-man and a 3-man, I think they are. whether or not I would have decamped to those at some point, despite saying last week that wouldn't be something I would do lightly. Last episode. Let me just see whether I can reach one of these lights without knocking everything flying. I'm drawing it to a close now, folks, but I'm just aware that it is getting dark. I don't want you... what can I reach? I got this one. It will be a little bit stark. Yeah, here I am. So it's bloody stark, isn't it? Can I mitigate it slightly? Maybe like that. So yeah, I was obviously very concerned about the prospect of wet. You know, that's one of my cut-offs, is if I'm in a wet bed, I got to do something. Now, fortunately, as it turned out, as we'll see in future episodes, it never got too bad. It was survivable. But these were the worries at this point. So we'll take this up, I think, Tuesday, if I can, if the weather allows, if I've got my notes all set up and right. We'll pick up the story of the continuing of the second week of hell. I think I called it in one or two. I think in two videos. I did two videos. There's a playlist, folks, linked in the description under some of the intro blurb. There's a playlist linked of the week of hell, which covers all 3 weeks so far. But there are two videos in there labeled second week of hell ? And then second week of hell confirmed a couple of days later when the bad weather continued. But I think for now, folks, we're drawing it to a close. I'll have a final check to see if there are any more questions or comments. There are not. So unless you've got any final questions, I'll give you a minute if you've got anything you want to type, or failing that, we'll draw it to a close. If I could ask folks, thumbs up if you can. It'd be nice to get more than 20 thumbs up while we're live, which I think we hit 21 on the special the other day, at the Hangout the other day. I think that was a record, hitting 21 while live. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider it. If you're new here and you've just dropped in at random and you're wondering what's happening and why, I am a tramp. I live in a field, in a foreign country where I don't speak the language much. There's a whole backstory. If you search for TrampCast 001, you can get the full story. If you're a new subscriber and you want like an update, there's a separate playlist listed in the description again, towards the bottom. There's a playlist listed like a catch-up of where to start with, which videos to watch first, kind of thing. Work your way through the playlist and subscribe if you haven't already, or consider it. There is a PayPal donation link. I don't like to push it, but if you've seen any of my videos, you will see that I am in a tent that is falling apart. A two-man tent would be a difficult squeeze, really, for me, the dog, and some of our belongings. Using both of the tents I have as a backup might be possible, but again, would be a squeeze. If you're going to live in a tent, you probably need to be able to stand up and move around a little bit. And I know it's a little bit beggars wanting to be choosers, isn't it? I'm aware of that. I am aware of that. But my circumstances are such that I'm trapped here in this country. Long story, TrampCast 001 if you don't know it. But here I am, folks. So yeah, there is a donation link for anyone who's got a little bit of money to spare, anyone who is inclined. If you're not, that's okay. That's okay. Just watching the videos, hitting the thumbs up, subscribing, sharing them out there perhaps on if you've got a YouTube channel, if you've got Twitter, Facebook even, although I'm not a big fan. I do technically have an account mainly just for Messenger. Terry, you're still here, mate, or you just dropped back in. Okay, folks. With that, I will wish you all a fond farewell. Tina's in a dark room through there, so we can't do the from Tina and from Delta Mike thing. Although we can do this. From Tina. Although the camera's reversed, so maybe I should do that. From Tina. And from me, Delta Mike. Out. Jack Attack, you are there. Bye for now, folks. Catch you Tuesday, maybe. Bye.